Well, vetting immigrants and refugees is just start of the next step here in America, right? Assimilate. America is a melting pot, but lately it seems like nothing's melted. Fox News contributor Pete Hegseth joins us right now. Pete, you traveled to little Mogadishu there in Minneapolis, didn't you?
Well, that's exactly right. Just not far from the studio. I'm in Minneapolis this morning. There's an area, a Somali Muslim area called Little Mogadishu. A lot of folks have fled the Somali civil war here in Minneapolis. And so a couple of months ago, indeed, I believe it was many months ago, I traveled there, went in there to talk to folks and find out why there was an enclave and not as much assimilation. This is what folks on the street had to say.
You go there and you see someone who's been there for like 20 years, and he or she doesn't speak a single word of English because they don't interact with people outside that circle. It creates an environment where the lone wolf is going to be easier to hide in.
Is radicalization still going on right now? Are Somali youth still being recruited by ISIS as we speak?
Yes.
The Islamic schools here in Minnesota, they teach Sharia law.
Yeah, Sharia law.
Do they teach also American law, the U.S. Constitution?
Actually, I have no idea about that one.
Oh my God, that's one of the scariest sound bites I've ever heard, because when you come to the United States and the whole idea of assimilation is to become more American, but if you don't learn the language, you don't learn the history, you don't get a job, you don't assimilate.
Well, that's exactly right. And Somalia is one of the countries on the list that Donald Trump put out of this temporary ban. Listen, these are people coming from intolerant countries where women and gays are persecuted, religious minorities are persecuted, coming to tolerant countries like in Western Europe or the United States. If they don't assimilate to the idea of America, America is not a race or a gender or a creed. It is an idea around founding values. If they don't learn English, if they're not taught in American schools about the Constitution and why this country is special, then why should we be surprised that they're seduced by radical Islam? Sure. They're seduced by mosques that teach Sharia law, and then they backlash against this culture in our country and attack us here at home. That is why the next step to extreme vetting is allegiance and assimilation, and we're not doing it in our schools. We're not making sure folks learn English. This is a press 2 for Spanish or press 2 for another language country. And what Donald Trump is saying is we got to get back to basics, and it starts with knowing who's coming into our country and whether they believe in America. And then once they're here, we need to ask them to invest in America and become part of the fabric of our country. This is a pretty simple construct. Nothing racist about it. It's called Americanism.
Yeah, sure, and you made it clear why assimilation is important, but you mentioned allegiance. How would you like to see them pledge allegiance to their new country?
How about say Pledge of Allegiance in our public school classrooms every single day, which we used to do, which we no longer do. Ask your local principal if they say it every day anymore, or if they say under God when they do say it, or whether they allow people to step out, or maybe we should tell kids not to take a knee with the national anthem and remind them people purchased their freedom for them, that America has been a beacon of freedom in the world where anyone can practice their faith and not be persecuted, unlike the countries Iraq, Syria, Pakistan, Somalia, where they're coming from. America's a special place. We need to remind our youth, because if we don't, and new immigrants, we're going to lose our country. And that's what Trump's speaking to.
Great points, Pete, but I think some liberals' heads just exploded throughout America. Are you happy?
I am very happy, Steve. That's my goal.
Thank you.